In 1944, the world made a deal. Every country on earth agreed that one currency would rule them all. One currency that would be used to buy oil, to settle trade, to store the wealth of nations. That currency was the U.S. dollar. And for 80 years, that deal held. But right now, in 2026, something is changing. Something the mainstream media isn't talking about loudly enough. The dollar's grip on the world is slipping, and the consequences for you.
In 2001, the US dollar accounted for 71% of global reserves. Today, that share has steadily declined to 58%.
To understand why the dollar might fall, you first world would be pegged to the dollar, and the dollar would be pegged to gold at $35 per ounce. America became the world's banker, and the dollar became the world's money. 1971, Nixon breaks the deal. Fast forward to 1971. President Nixon breaks the gold peg. The dollar is no longer backed by anything physical. But here's the genius move. Henry Kissinger secretly negotiates a new deal with Saudi Arabia. The Saudis will only sell oil in U.S. dollars. In exchange, America provides military protection. Slow. Suddenly, every country on earth that needs oil, which is every country, needs dollars. The petrodollar system is born. Here's what most people don't realize. The dollar isn't collapsing tomorrow. This isn't a disaster movie. It's something slower, and in some ways, more dangerous, because the dollar is being quietly, methodically replaced in pockets of global trade, one deal at a time. Let's talk about the three biggest cracks. Crack number one, the BRICS challenge. In 2023, the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, held a summit, and they announced something extraordinary. They want to create their own currency for international trade, one that bypasses the dollar entirely. By 2025, BRICS had expanded to include Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Iran, Ethiopia, and Egypt. That's over 3.5 billion people, nearly half the world's population, choosing to build a financial system without the dollar. Crack number two, China's Yuan push. China has been on a mission for over a decade to make the Yuan a global reserve currency. In March 2023, China and Saudi Arabia completed their first oil trade, settled entirely in Yuan, not dollars. Yuan. Slow. This was the first crack in the petrodollar system in 50 years. And China isn't stopping there. It is now the largest trading partner of over 90 countries, and it is actively pushing those countries to settle trade in yuan instead of dollars. Crack number three, America's own debt. Here's the most ironic part of this story. The biggest threat to the dollar might be America itself. The U.S. national debt has crossed $36 trillion. The interest payments alone now rival the entire U.S. defense budget. In 2025, Moody's, one of the three major credit rating agencies, downgraded U.S. debt. For the first time in history, when a country can't manage its debt, global investors start looking for alternatives. And that's exactly what is happening. Central banks around the world bought more gold in 2024 than at any point in the last 50 years. They are quietly, slowly moving away from dollars. Now let's talk about what just happened, because this changes everything. In 2025, the Trump administration imposed tariffs at their highest level since World War II, a blanket tariff of 25% on goods from Canada and Mexico, up to 145% on Chinese goods. The logic: protect American industry, bring manufacturing back home, use economic pressure as a geopolitical weapon. But here's what happened instead. Countries that were already skeptical of dollar dependence, China, Russia, the Gulf states, accelerated their plans to move away from the dollar And you can understand why. Why would you keep your reserves in a currency controlled by a country that can use that same currency as a weapon against you? From the Russia sanctions of 2022, if America can freeze your dollar reserves, the dollar is a risk, not just an asset. And in 2026, the U.S. Supreme Court struck down several of Trump's tariffs, calling them unconstitutional. So here's the question. Everyone is asking, if not the dollar, then what? And the honest answer is, nobody knows for certain. But there are three real contenders. Option 1, the Chinese. Yuan, China, wants this. It's pushing hard for it. But there's a problem. The yuan isn't freely convertible. China controls capital flows too tightly for global investors to fully trust it. Until China opens up its financial system, which it hasn't, the yuan will remain a regional currency, not a global one. Option 2, gold. Central banks are buying gold at record levels. Some economists argue we could see a partial return to gold-backed currency systems. But gold is slow. Gold is heavy. Gold doesn't work well for digital global trade in 2026. Option 3, a multipolar world. This is the most likely scenario, and it's already happening. Instead of one reserve currency, the world moves to several. The dollar remains dominant in the Americas, the euro in Europe, the yuan in Asia and Africa, and a new BRICS settlement currency. For commodity trade, no single winner, no single loser, just a messier, more complex world where American financial power is diluted, but not destroyed. America still has the biggest table, but it is no longer the only one. Okay, so central banks are buying gold, BRICS is meeting, China is trading in yuan. What does any of this mean for the average American watching this video? 3 things. Number 1, inflation stays higher for longer. If global demand for dollars falls, America loses its ability to print money without consequences. That means higher borrowing costs, higher mortgage rates, higher prices. The era of cheap American debt is ending. Number 2, oil prices become more volatile. If oil trade moves away from the dollar, even partially, American consumers lose the hidden subsidy that the petrodollar system provided. Gas prices, shipping costs, food prices all become less predictable. Number 3, American global power weakens. The dollar isn't just money, it's power. The ability to sanction countries, to freeze assets, to dictate terms. As the dollar weakens, that power weakens with it. And a world with less American dominance is a world with more uncertainty, more conflict, and more instability. This isn't the end of America. Let's be clear about that. But it is the end of an ERA. The Roman Empire didn't fall in a day. Neither did the British pound lose its reserve status overnight. These things happen slowly, and then suddenly. The question isn't whether the dollar's dominance will end. History tells us it will. Every reserve currency eventually does. The question is, are you paying attention while it happens? Because the people who understand this shift, who see it coming before it arrives, are the ones who will be positioned for what comes next. If this video made you think differently about money, about power, about the world we live in, hit subscribe. Because this is exactly the kind of story we tell here. I'll see you